This is a video about how to use your brain and think in the age of AI. It is nothing special. It's nothing that anybody hasn't said before, but it is an example to myself and anybody that's interested in the way that I think, how I try to keep my brain normal while AI is becoming more and more popular. So I don't think it makes sense to be an AI doom and gloomer to say that AI is going to destroy everything and ruin everybody's life. But I do think that there's something to be said for cognitive decline. Your brain is you, and if you don't use it, you lose it. We know that for muscles, we know that for, it's just common sense. So here is an example of me using my brain to evaluate making a purchasing decision. There was somebody that wanted to sell me, or I was looking at Facebook Marketplace at this really sick monitor setup. There were like 6 different monitors on this thing. And the question is, should I purchase them? Are they actually worth it? Well, things that I care about, you have to list those off in your head. What is that? What actually matters to you? Well, one, I want things to be absolutely crystal clear, crisp and crispy. I want it to be relatively fast refresh rate, but I'm not a gamer, so I don't need it to be like 120 hertz refresh rate. Plus, running 6 monitors at 120 seems a little overkill. I probably don't need 4K. I'm rocking a Framework 13 laptop that is like 13 and a half inches screen. It's not 4K, it's like 2.8K, something like that. But here's where the fun part comes in. Instead of going directly to AI, I had a bit of free time and I decided, let me just try and calculate everything myself because I learned this stuff in school and I have a decent enough knowledge on monitors and like I kind of know what straws to grasp at in order to get the information I need and make a decision for myself without being told what to do by a machine. So here was the process. First of all, I need to figure out what is the number that actually matters. Is it 4K? Is it 34-inch monitor? Is it 120 hertz? No, it's actually a completely different number, and I came up with this on my own. I figured they must be using some number to describe how many pixels there are per inch, right? Because you can have a 4K TV, but you can also have a 4K laptop monitor. That means that they like somehow they've got the same amount of pixel. What does that even mean? Is it 4,000 pixels per inch? I don't know. So I started thinking that's probably the number that matters. It's going to define the resolution of your screen. And I wanted to know, well, I've got 2 monitors. One of them I like the resolution of. The other one is a little bit not perfect. So I wanted to find those as a baseline. So I looked at my 34-inch monitor and I found out the resolution online is, what data did I start with here? The resolution is, it's a 3440 by 1440 monitor, right? And I was like, okay, how many pixels per square inch are we talking here? Break out the old Pythagorean theorem, 34 inches on this, because apparently monitors are measured in the diagonal. The A and the B are unknowns, but we do know that it's a 21 by 9 monitor. Or the aspect ratio is 21 by 9. That means that A and B are this relationship right here. A is as to 21 as B is to 9. So now we've got a system of equations. Boom. 34 squared equals A squared plus B squared. We know that. And we also know that A divided by B is equal to 21 divided by 9. From this, we can derive a quadratic formula, which I was like, I'm not doing that. I plugged that into an online calculator. We know how to do the quadratic formula. The real exercise here was trying to take my brain through the soon-to-be-forgotten process of digging up information without it being spoon-fed to me. It was the process of thinking for myself. Now, we got this number. Okay, what does any of this mean? Well, eventually I figured out that we're sitting right around 110 pixels per inch in the X and Y directions, which is probably about 1,000 pixels per square inch, and that's on the monitor that I'm not particularly fond of. And I thought to myself, okay, I went and I figured out this whole process by hand. I know how it works. I've got 3 numbers. I've got diagonal of the screen. I've got the aspect ratio in, I guess, the X and the Y direction. So that's 3 numbers total, which you can see right here. This is kind of how they describe monitors. And definitely somebody built a calculator for this online. So I went boom, boom, boom. I compared all the stats of the 3 monitors that I know of. There's the one that I use every day. There's the one on my laptop, which is a killer monitor. Love the Framework laptop design. And there is the monitors that I was looking at on Facebook Marketplace, which it turns out are actually worse than the one that I use every day and don't find particularly amazing. It's kind of like mid-level. So I did not make that purchasing decision. No AI was used in the in this decision-making process. And it might seem really stupid and silly to break out high school algebra, but as a person that uses AI extensively every day, or most every day for programming work, I think it's incredibly important not to forget the basics, because if you do the basics enough times and you really, really master them and hone in on them, they become like second nature. And that is what allows you to make quicker decisions that are built on top of those basics. The only thing I think that separates somebody who is an absolute expert in their field from somebody who's not is they know more stuff. They've come, like, they've cumulatively performed more learning and actions in the small things so that they can build upon them and unconsciously choose things the correct way and make bigger and bigger decisions, right? You're not making that many decisions at any given point. Like, people that are really, really good at something, they're not making more decisions than you. They've actually just created automatic brain pathways and automated decision making because they've done the small things so many times, they become second nature. It's like when I set up a code project, I don't need to make a million decisions about what code editor to use, how to type on the keyboard, how to open a terminal, or how to organize the front end and the back end, or how to have type safety across the whole project, or how to integrate an ORM. It's like, I know these things because I've done them a million freaking times, but if you forget those basics, I think those mental shortcuts are going to go away and you're going to find yourself helpless. So while we should use and leverage AI, I think that there's something to be said for really hammering the basics every now and then to retain the memories and retain the learning and retain the ability to bring back long-term memories and long-term problem solving. Like, this was a really simple thread to pull on, and I did real-life verification using a tape measure. I checked my work, and those simple exercises are really important. It's like, if a ballerina forgets to do balance exercises or forgets to do, I don't know what they do, like toe stand, like calf raises, they're probably not going to be able to perform at the top of their game for very long, right? You might be really good at those big and like incredible moves that you practice sometimes, but those moves are made possible by the practice of the small and the uninteresting, right? You can't just build a house out of shingles. You need to pour a foundation first. You can't just furnish your house like an incredible interior designer without first putting the electricity in the walls, right? So, I don't know. I think there's probably going to be a lot of research about this in the future, and I am being a little proactive in the protection of my own brain. I guess I can't suggest that anybody do this because I've got no evidence for my theory, but it seems like the right thing to do. It's like, would you allow yourself to sit on the couch and rot all day just because you got a mechanized walker that walks you around? No, of course. You'd want to exercise your body and keep it healthy. You should probably do the same thing for your mind. So that can look like learning new things. That can look like programming from scratch. That can look like doing math problems on a piece of paper. That could look like Sudoku. I don't know. But I think allowing the small building blocks of thinking and learning to leave our lives is incredibly dangerous. And you might argue, well, what about calculators? Okay, yeah, but at least when you use a calculator, you're using a calculator. You're not just asking a question. You're not just saying, solve the math problem for me. You're doing step-by-step things. I think in the future, AI is going to probably be like that. If we do it right, AI is going to be in very very well-defined and constrained boxes that we input and output to and from. This whole super generalized hold your hand thing is not going to turn out well for anybody's cognitive abilities. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm not making this video for any particular reason other than to throw my 2 cents in the ring and say, hey, this is probably a good idea for me. I'm probably going to keep doing this. Maybe even AI-free Mondays. Like, I don't know, there's probably a cool name for something like that. Like, what can I think of? Mandatory Mondays? See, this process of thinking of things, like, it's so easy to tell an AI, give me 35 ideas for a cool name. You got to use your architecture in your head. You have to use your brain, or you're going to lose it. Use it or lose it. That's always been true with everything in life. So I'm going to force myself to think of a fun name. Let's see. For some reason, I totally just blanked. What do we got? Typing Tuesdays, Manual Mondays, Typing Tuesdays, Wordy Wednesdays. I'm trying to think of a word that means old-fashioned. What do we have? There's old, there is, not redundant is different, outdated, classic, classic Thursdays. I could get behind that. Maybe it doesn't have to rhyme. I was thinking like, what was the first one? It was Manual Mondays. You know, it maybe doesn't have to have alliteration where the first two words have the same letter. Anyway, the reason I sat there and blanked out for 30 seconds is because it's important to do that in life. If you don't use your architecture, if you don't use your hardware, it's going to get corroded and you're not going to be able to use it anymore. So that's all I've got to say about that. And I'll upload this video because I think it's important to say. AI is pretty cool, but you know, your brain's better. So don't forget to turn that thing on every now and then. Cheers.